The 2019 Diamond Conference in Gaborone, Botswana focused the minds of executives and policymakers on the 4 C's: consumer, community, cluster development and collaboration. In essence, seeking unanimity on the key themes that are going to drive the next agreement between Botswana and De Beers, the world's largest diamond miner. Join us as we pick up some of the key voices that attended this year's conference.
The De Beers Diamond Conference of 2019 may have seemingly brought together 1,000 individuals in this very room today. However, all here present today represent and carry with them the hearts and the lives of the people, of the millions of people, both young and old, across the world, who have experienced the true meaning of the infinite value of a diamond in various ways. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure and humbling pleasure to welcome you to the 2019 De Beers Diamond Conference this morning. Where better to host this transformative conversation than the diamond capital of the world, and even more, the cradle of humankind, the Republic of Botswana.
Over the past few years at this conference, we've addressed some of the key questions relating to the diamond sector and its significance to producing countries such as Botswana. Today we look at a range of questions that are vital to all of our futures in an ever faster changing world. How has the diamond industry managed to sustain its success over the years? Why has Botswana managed to generate so much diamond success when some other countries have struggled to maximize the benefit of their diamonds? And importantly, what will be important in the future if we are to maintain this success? Now, the answer, as is often the case with simple-sounding questions, is rather complex. Success requires a combination of many different things, all of which depend on the great efforts of a significant number of people. At this year's event, we will seek to explore some of these key ingredients for success in more detail and investigate what we need to consider for the future. You know, we love talking about the 4 C's in the diamond industry, and today we'll be examining the future for the lens of what you might call the 4 C's of success for the diamond ecosystem: consumers, communities, cluster development, and collaboration.
I am well aware of the saying that a diamond is forever, which is true in all respects relating to the sales and the marketing of these precious stones. But I'm also alive to the fact that diamond mining will not last forever. As such, I strongly believe that we should intensify our efforts to broaden our economic base around diamond mining and beyond, so that we fully exploit our rich, by also fully exploiting our rich human capital already developed and that which is to be developed. In this regard, we should work towards having a private sector-led and export-focused economy that will enable us to create sustainable jobs. This will indeed go a long way in ensuring that we create sustainable, vibrant, and diversified mineral sector that is integrated into other sectors of the economy as espoused in our National Long-Term Vision 2036. Ladies and gentlemen, I am glad to note that the 2019 Diamond Conference coincides with a historic milestone. As you all may be aware, the government of Botswana and the De Beers Group are this year celebrating the Golden Jubilee of their partnership as embodied by the Botswana Mining Company. This partnership has grown from strength to strength over the past 50 years, and in the process propelling Botswana from being one of the poorest countries in the world at independence to one of the most successful economies in Sub-Saharan Africa today.
After newly elected President Mokgweetsi Eric Masisi's welcoming address, the day proceeded with panel discussions that centered on the conference theme: consumer, community, cluster development and collaboration. One of the many key points highlighted by the President was the term full beneficiation. What do some of the stakeholders think?
Well, we support beneficiation, right? It's important. I mean, it's important to empower the nation. And diamonds are bringing back. And again, I talked about provenance and ensuring that we give back to the country that we are mining in. It's very important. I talk about sustainability again. It's important to sustain the areas that we're in beyond the life of mine. You heard me talk about open pit up to 2026. What are we doing as a mining industry to ensure that after the mines, what happens beyond that? And beneficiation is not about the pipeline alone. It's about everything else that sustains the country, right?
Full beneficiation has some challenges. Right now we are doing cutting and polishing. We've got a number of factories, about 15, that are doing cutting and polishing. So, but we believe that the jewelry section, we had one jewelry manufacturer, and the retail are challenging areas. But we believe that with the right strategy and the right determination, there's an area that we can make an impact. But we don't want to underestimate the challenges, because in that area is different challenges to the cutting and polishing. But given our success with cutting and polishing, we don't see why we can't carry that success to move to jewelry and ultimately to retail.
Beneficiation cannot exist without collaboration between all stakeholders, as highlighted in the panel discussion, harnessing the power of collaboration to unlock opportunities.
The center obviously is the mining company, the mining operator that actually digs the diamonds out of the ground, whether in Botswana, whether it be Debswana or Lucara or another diamond mining operator. But the industry, the diamond mining industry, involves far more than just the mining company itself. If we look at the spheres around the central one, at the top we have shareholders. Clearly the shareholders are a major partner in terms of the collaborative process. Moving around the communities within which the diamond mines operate and they have an impact on. Moving down again, the government. The government is a key player and a key partner in any mining industry. The customers of the mining operator and the suppliers to the mining operation, so upstream and downstream in the value chain. Employees are important. They're the ones that keep the operation going. And then finally, I've said the nation. So we take the country as a whole, and the population of the country are also a partner in the whole diamond mining process. Now, clearly, there may well be overlaps between these entities. The community and the employees are likely to have many overlaps. The government may well be a shareholder in a diamond mining operation. So there are overlaps, but I think we can distinguish the different partners in terms of their distinctive roles in the mining process. So these are all the entities that have to be involved in a collaborative process.
The strengths and the other things that we can then maximize the strengths, always looking that we have to use the resources we have in our countries to give better quality of life to our people. That is the most important thing. Of course, the companies who are operating in another country, they are looking for profit. That is fair. They have to have its profit, but we have to look more to make these resources working for our people, for our communities, and taking always in consideration the environment in our countries.
Now, this conference is also coming, I think, at a crucial time for the diamond industry. And I'm not going to talk about the current midstream challenges, for example, or maybe the macroeconomic challenges, because those are really the natural cyclical realities of the industry. But there are some problems or challenges that we are going to continue to experience going forward. For example, I think in both Namibia and Botswana, our mines are getting older and more expensive to extract diamond from. Obviously, the emergence of the lab-grown diamonds present a peculiar challenge that we will take lightly, I think, at our own peril. As we all know, the only true source of value of our diamonds really remain the consumer's desire for our diamonds. And the consumer is becoming more and more sophisticated and starting to demand greater evidence, for example, that our diamonds do not harm the environment where it comes from, and also that the people who work on our mines are actually safely working on those mines. Shareholders are demanding greater returns on their capital. As it was said, we all have got shareholders, and they set to demand more and more from us. Equally, our employees are demanding greater remuneration perks, and our communities are demanding more direct, tangible benefits from our mining operations. And obviously, these are all the challenges that we need to face. Hence, the issue of the 4 Cs are very, very necessary.
I think what you see now in terms of the 3 countries that are out front in terms of collaborating, maybe South Africa, Namibia, and Botswana, they serve as a very good model, a very good example of what those 3 countries can do to basically set the tone for countries like Congo or Angola or Zimbabwe, for example, Sierra Leone. And I think another challenge that we have when we are trying to group many of the African diamond-producing countries is our official language is in English. And you have Congo that tends to struggle in that area, or Angola that's communicating in Portuguese. We saw the head of Indiama today on stage, and he basically communicated in Portuguese. And that's, sometimes it's viewed as a deterrent. They weren't that present last year at the conference, but they're very present this year. You have the minister and you have the head of Indiama here. So.
As partners, we have endeavored to understand each other's objectives. The government represents a constituency, and we as De Beers are a commercial interest. Yes, but at the same time, the government needs revenue. So from a commercial side, the government must derive some income, revenue, to carry out development and all that. So the first thing that I think underpins this is a mutual understanding of the objectives of the partners. That's one. The second thing is that we as a commercial entity have actually tried to understand what the aspirations of the Botswana government are. And we've tried hard to align our strategies behind the aspirations of the government with a view to helping the government achieve their objectives.
After a long day of discussion about inclusive growth, private-public partnerships, and building a sustainable future, the day winded down. The evening featured the Diamond Banquet and Shining Light Awards event. The awards reflected the De Beers Group's commitment to standing with women and girls around the world. Pat Dambe, Vice President of Corporate Affairs and Government Relations, presided over this event.
We celebrate what diamonds have done in terms of the partnership. Tourism is another diamond. It's one that's growing every single day. It's difficult to get into the Delta these days. I don't know if you've tried, but it's fully booked. So it's become a gem, an expensive gem, an exotic gem. And we celebrate the success of our tourism by having everybody here tonight. I'd like to talk a little bit about what we do as De Beers. There's this word that everybody uses and throws around called beneficiation. Beneficiation, in my mind, is about the future. It's about our young people. It's about things like shining lights. It's about what the president talked about in the conference today, was making sure that we start to move towards the downstream of our business and encourage young people to get into that. It's about the partnership that we have in terms of looking at what the future is going to be in 2036. It's about the young entrepreneurs that go through a Stanford program, Go to Market, which is young entrepreneurs, and those who are medium-sized to be bigger and support more people in terms of jobs and socioeconomic impact. It's about Tamaga, some of our young community development initiatives that can become so much more. And as we recruit young designers and artisans, we have the opportunity through De Beers to look at how we get this to market outside Botswana and promote Botswana.
The event ended on a high note with award winners, scholarship winners, and performances. In the same week, De Beers hosted another conference in Gaborone. The W Summit, otherwise known as the Women's Summit, brought together a powerful and diverse group of more than 350 women business leaders, government officials, entrepreneurs, and creatives. The theme was Bridging Leadership and Purpose for Socio-Economic Impact. This summit addressed a wide range of topics related to the status of women in Sub-Saharan Africa, from global access to capital to market opportunities for entrepreneurs. The W Summit was led by Patron and First Lady of Botswana, Neo Jane Masisi.
It is indeed a great privilege for me to be speaking here this morning at this amazing W Summit to celebrate you women in business, in leadership, game changers, all of you very, very accomplished in your different ways. I'm most humbled to have been requested to be patron for this year after a successful event last year where I was keynote speaker. I have taken notepad that today I'm 2 in 1, both patron and keynote speaker. Thank you very much. I remain committed to, amongst other things, issues that affect women in business and leadership. Of course, because I'm a woman, and of course, because I've had very powerful women nurturing me, and especially my mother. This year's theme for the W Summit is Bridging Leadership and Purpose for Socio-Economic Impact. The theme comes at an opportune time, as I believe there couldn't have been a better time to come together to discuss women's issues, given that 2020 marks 25 years since the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, which addressed women's rights and empowerment around the world. I know 2020 is not yet there yet, it's not here yet, but I always round up. My daughter always scolds me when I tell her I'm 48, even in Jan. She says, "No, Mom, you'll only be 48 in November." Hint, hint. So I round up, because there's always urgency in this world. For me, these 10 weeks that are yet to come, they're really here for me. And again, it is also an important time when the world looks at achieving the Agenda 2030, the SDGs, and evident that they're interrelated and require a multi-sectoral approach. Nothing is sitting in isolation. It is also a time when women are at the center of discussions. Distinguished guests, we may want to ask ourselves, is being a leader worth the time and effort? This is a question that many leaders ask themselves. True leaders do not merely believe in grand titles, but they believe it comes with responsibility and opportunity. Above all, they strive to make a difference in the lives of other people by building others and making the right decisions.
In recent years, the ground has shifted in virtually every sphere of life, and change no longer comes incrementally, right? Instead, we are in constant motion all the time. We are in a constant state of change. Everything that is tripping over everything that was. And this change is not only happening internally to our organizations, but it's also happening by individuals interacting across other organizations, institutions, and countries. It connects diverse cultures within and across all continents. It creates disruption and dislocation, and it creates opportunity and innovation. So we know we live in a time of rapidly accelerating change, from connected to hyper-connected, from interconnectivity to interdependency. And this global interdependency is driven by many factors, right? By increasing economic interaction among countries, by the number of economic and political treaties, partnerships, and alliances, by innovations in communications and technology that allows people from all over the world to interact personally and electronically. We are navigating the uncertain waters of migration and mobility, global trends in finance and big data, poverty and the impoverished, technology and the AI-driven job loss and job growth. Governments, some, that are facing huge declines in respect and trust. And all of these areas are intertwined, right? Political, social, environment, technology, and the economy. It's like this huge ball of string that could so easily unravel. Because each day in this world of ours, political realities are unfolding in countries around the globe. And we struggle to ensure that the abnormal does not become normal.
The day continued with masterclasses covering topics from leadership to passion. Guest speaker Steve Harvey and his wife Marjorie spoke about women's roles in relationships.
She did a lot of things. She gave me confidence. She started looking at my businesses. She started telling me about people I should fire. I said, no, they're cool.
We still got a few left.
She said, Steve.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We still got a few, but.
Well, are you going to?
Well, it's okay. It's okay. No, we did. No, we did. We still got a few. But here's the thing, though. What my prayer is, again, is that I knew where God wanted to take us. And everybody has to have their eyes open, and you have to be awake and paying attention, because the more God blesses you, the more you have to be responsible, not less. And you have to be a good steward over what God blesses you with. And in order to do that, you have to pay attention to what is going on around you and in your life and in your business, in your family, everything. So that's the reason why. It's not that I'm trying to be mean. I'm just trying to do my job.
Look,
we all have a job.
You can be a successful man without a woman. You can sign a contract. You can get a good job and hold a good position. But you'll never be a great man without a woman.
This statement created a segue into a panel discussion on sustainability and finance, where experts shared their knowledge on how women in decision-making positions can help achieve Africa's social development goals.
The challenge that we have as Botswana is to say, how do we move away from a set spend per annum? And how do we integrate regionally with governments, with other private institutions, to really set the game right across Botswana so that we can bring additional private investment in and really attack the real socio-economic development? That's the next step for us.
$500 billion that is going to be needed in 2030, not leading up to 2030, in 2030, just to try and sort out some of the SDGs. So $500 billion. So you know we need to raise funding for it. And the big question is, who's going to help fund this? Is it governments, private sector, is it stakeholders? Who's going to do it? What do you think as an executive at Hollard with influence? Where do you see it going?
No single person or entity will be able to find this. For this to be achievable, we need the public, the civil, and the private sector to come together. And we need to disseminate the information of really what is sustainable development, such that it becomes part of what is built in each organization's measurable achievements. And each one of us can then play a small role. But what would be important is through the communication and the dissemination of this information and knowing who is doing what, which is one of the challenges that is out there, is the definition of everything, what really comes and falls and makes sustainable development.
And what that means is that government and private sector have to come together. They have to come together to do this job, and together we can drive it. It's everybody's responsibility. So what we do across Africa is to empower even very, very small, medium-scale enterprises. You know, just ensuring that they have the mentoring, that they have the training. It's not just about the money, it's about sustainability, and it's helping them together. Everybody's all hands on deck. So I think I am optimistic that we will get to a very far place with the SDGs.
Botswana's partnership with De Beers has been unique in many ways. Commercial exploitation of a country's natural resources, and uniquely, a government that has been able to use those resources appropriately for the benefit of its citizens. And so, as the two parties sit down together to finalize an agreement that will run from 2020, the expectation is that a partnership that has delivered so much value may well be extended and show the rest of the continent that if structured properly, public-private partnerships can work. Thank you for joining us.